Aha, that looks better. Okay, welcome to Physical Science Online Edition. This is our metals lab. So we're going to be looking at a bunch of different elements from the periodic table, actually. But it's focused, clearly the periodic table is mostly metals. So that's why we call it the metals lab, because we are mostly dealing with metals. I got my periodic table over here to help us out. And we're not going to look at this whole list, but we're going to look at quite a few of them. Just because it's one of our cooler labs that we get to play around with some of the elements from the periodic table. With that being said, let's kind of dive into some of this stuff. Not all of it will show up on the test this year, but it still kind of fits in with Mendeleev's trends. That's what you need to be focusing on as we're looking for those trends. We're continuing to pretend that we're Mendeleev in this unit as we look at the periodic table and kind of look for those patterns and trends that he was using. So first off, I got bromine. Bromine's one of our only liquids at room temperature, so that's why it's kind of cool. And depending on its concentration and impurities, it can be a couple different colors, but this one is green. I do have this do not open on some of the different things if you were in class, either for ones that are dangerous, such as bromine, or ones that I know are not conductive and kind of get a little bit messy. So let's go through this. Not fair since it is in liquid form. Some of this stuff isn't applicable. You'd have to get it in solid form to make it make a little bit more sense. But it's not, luster means shiny, and I would say that it's not shiny. It's a liquid, so let's just cross that out. Yeah, it's kind of malleable. I mean, it squishes in your fingers, but no. It is green. It is, I would tell you since it's closed that it's not conductive. We're going to, once again, say it's in its liquid form and cross that one out for crushing for bromine because it's a liquid. And then I'll leave it up to you to use ptable.com to find out if this is a metal or a non-metal by looking at your periodic table online. Next up is carbon. Carbon's usually just a piece of like coal or something. This is just a really loose piece of peat, I think. And you can actually crush it up a little bit into smaller pieces, so I don't let students play around with this too much because it is messy. Carbon is number 8 on our list down here. So it is not lustrous, it is not shiny. It is not malleable, that's why we're able to crush it like that. We're not able to bend it, it crushes or breaks. It is black. And let's see, even though, like I said, for students normally I wouldn't let them do this, but since we're online we can do some extra stuff. And we can see that carbon is not conductive. That's because it is crushable and it is a solid at room temperature. Leave the last column up to you. It's also kind of cool to get to see elements in different forms. So here's some copper, copper sheet. Hopefully you know of copper wire. We have some over there. And then just little granules of copper that you get to play around with. If you were in class, copper is Cu. It's number 14 on your list. And in its different forms, you can sometimes pick up on some of its qualities a little bit better. This is what Mendeleev had to do too. Even if something didn't quite make sense, like with my little pieces of copper here, it's somewhat difficult to see that they're shiny, although copper is pretty easy. There's other ones that are tougher. But once you get to the sheet here, you can actually see the light play off it. You can see that it is super lustrous. The little pieces would be impossible to bend with my fingers because just as you get to tiny pieces of things, I can't bend them. But with a big metal sheet, I can clearly see that copper is malleable. Don't use copper as the color. I'll say orange or copper colored. And then for conductivity, we'll do both here. So see the little pellets aren't very, this should light up if it's conductive. So I can get it to light up once in a while when things hit just right. But with the sheet, I can get it to light up a lot more consistently. And actually, copper is so conductive, it lights up both lights. That's how we can get our conductivity, is by how many of the lights light up. Try to fit one more onto this video. Let's do nitrogen. Nitrogen. I always get freak kids out because it's empty. Yeah, nitrogen is just 70% of the air that we're breathing. It is a gas, so once again, a lot of this doesn't apply. But it's cool to think about how many elements are actually floating around us. And then I'll get the rest of them on the next video. Thank you.